Basically, let's think the evening's going to be okay with temperatures in the 60s, 50 for the overnight low. On Friday, sunny skies, gorgeous day, though it's a little cool for this time of year, 70 for the high. Friday night, clear and chilly down to 48. Saturday, sunny and 73. Clear skies Saturday night, 54. And Sunday for Mother's Day, sunshine and delightful 78 for the high on Sunday. I'm meteorologist Dave Murray on 104.1 FM. KMOX.
We've got some clouds, some sun, currently 70 downtown at the Arch. I'm Michael Calhoun, KMOX News.
Come on, let's get going now.
From KMOX Sports.
We're primed and ready. All day, baby. Man, let's go.
This is the Gray Bar Sports Open Live. Gray Bar, your distributor for electrical and datacom needs. On 104.1 FM, KMOX.
A good Thursday evening to you. Welcome in. It is time for a Gray Bar Sports Open Line right here on KMOX. My name is Matt Pauley. Have you for the next 2 hours. We're taking you until 8 o'clock this evening. We got a lot to get to. We're going to be almost all Cardinals baseball outside of a couple guests that we are going to have on the show. Our guest schedule for tonight in about a half hour, around 6:35 or so, we are going to talk with MLS Season Pass Apple TV broadcaster Nate Bukaty. He's going to be on the call for City SC this upcoming weekend as they return to MLS play after they win an Open Cup game last night. I've been around sports long enough to know that you never begrudge a victory. You never begrudge a victory. If I have my number one belief when it comes to sports, you never begrudge a victory. So I choose my words carefully here, and we'll talk a little bit more about it. City got a win last night. Good for them. They scored a couple goals. Good for them. Glad to see. I hear my tone. It almost sounds like I'm being a smart aleck. I'm not. That I did a bad job controlling my tone right there. Good for them. They won. They needed a win. They scored goals. They needed to score goals. It was not impressive. They were playing a USL Pro team. It was scoreless at halftime. Glad they got the win. Glad they scored goals. Don't know what that means for them as they continue MLS play. We'll talk more about that later on. We'll talk some Battlehawks football as their kicker, Rodrigo Blankenship, is going to be on at about 7:20. And outside of that, it's Cardinals baseball. We got a lot of things to get to. Also, we might do a little Pope stuff when it comes to baseball because, man, even the Cubs put out something on their social media. The Cubs said that the Pope's a Cubs fan. And it's clear that that the new Pope is not a Cubs fan. In fact, we'll play the audio for you later on. His brother spoke to WGN News in Chicago and said, man, I don't know where this Cubs talk is. The dude's not, can I call the Pope a dude? The Pope, he is not a Cubs fan. He is a White Sox fan. And in fact, there are some members of his family who are Cardinals fans. So not real clear where that's. So for all of you, for the Catholics and the people who are very concerned about the Pope out there, who are also baseball Cardinals fans, don't worry. The leader of the Catholic Church is not a Cubs fan. You finally get an American as a Pope. It's never happened before, and he would have to be a Cubs fan. No, we don't want that. That can't be. That cannot be. And of course, the poverty jokes write themselves because as the Pope, you're supposed to, dedicate. You're supposed to have a life of poverty. Well, he's a White Sox fan. Again, the jokes write themselves. But we'll actually play that audio from the Pope's brother. Those are words I never thought I was ever going to say on hosting Sports Open Line. We're going to play comments from the Pope's brother. Yeah, we're going to do that coming up later on. We are. That's something that we have for you. So, but look, outside of that, it's going to be a lot of Cardinal talk, just where this team is going, what they're doing, what this good run means for them. I saw somebody say, I see stuff on social media all the time. And I'm like, oh, that's a good thought. And I never want to steal stuff. I'll agree with a thought. I need to do a better job. Maybe I should start using the bookmark tool on social media so I can go back and actually give credit to where credit is due. But I saw somebody say that the way the Cardinals are playing right now is essentially the best baseball we have seen from them. And best doesn't just mean most winning. best means like style of play, aesthetics of how it's going, things like that. That some, entertainment is a big part of it. Winning is a part of it. There's a lot of things. So from an entertainment standpoint, when you got Victor Scott scoring from first on 2 hits that he had no business scoring from first on, like that's what we're talking about. That's the aesthetics of the game. That's the entertainment of the game, things like that. I saw somebody on social media, and if this was you who said that and you're listening, I appreciate you saying it, even though I can't remember who it was, that this has been the best baseball that we have seen from the Cardinals in a couple years. So really, since the start of 2023, right? And that's not like this huge statement because 2023 was a terrible year. And then last year, part of the problem with last year, and I'm not trying to relitigate last year, because they were a winning team last year. They were a winning team last year that was non-compelling and kind of boring, right? Like they won more than they lost. Good on them. I'm not being dismissive of the fact that they were a winning team last year, but they set the expectations going into the year that they were going to try to be a playoff team, and they weren't that. So they failed in that. And then just the aesthetics of the way they played last year, it wasn't an overly entertaining brand of baseball, really outside of like Mason Wynn. And maybe Ryan Helsley. Like what were the 2 things that you would look forward to going to a Cardinals game last year? It was that hopefully Mason Wynn would make an incredible play at shortstop, and that the Cardinals would be winning, but not winning by more than 3. So you can see the lights turn off and the red lights come on and Ryan Helsley come out like a pro wrestling entrance, and then see him strike out a bunch of dudes. That was kind of the extent of the excitement of Cardinals baseball last year. And there's just a lot more than that. They're playing a fun style of baseball right now, and they also happen to be winning games. And the big question, and we talked about it yesterday on this show, and Kevin and I just talked about it on Redbird Rush Hour, and it's an off day today right now for the Cardinals. So this is kind of the low-hanging fruit narrative that we're gonna go with. It's how sustainable is this run that they've been on moving forward. And yesterday, and I caught some grief on social media about this, or through our text line on this, because yesterday on this show, I talked about the fact that, we've seen them play their best baseball and we've seen them play their worst baseball this year. And somebody said to me on Twitter, "Oh yeah, or of course, big statement there, Matt. Yeah, they've played their best baseball and they've played their worst baseball." Well, the point that I was making yesterday when I said that was that I think who they are is closer to the best version of what we've seen from them this year and further away from the worst version. That was the point I was trying to make yesterday, and I thought I did, but to some I didn't. And I would continue to stand by that. No team in sports is ever as good as they look when they're playing their best, or as bad as they look when they're playing their worst. They're just not. The like all things in life, the truth is somewhere in the middle. Where in the middle is the bigger question. And I think I could be wrong. We got the next few months to watch this thing play out. We're about 25% of the way through the season. We got 3/4 more of it to go. But I think that this Cardinals team is closer to what we have seen over the last few days as compared to what we saw from them, say, when they went on the road against the Mets and the Braves, or what we saw from them when they lost a series against Pittsburgh and then just got absolutely destroyed against Boston. And that should be a reason for Cardinals fans to be somewhat excited about what's going on. Are the Cardinals on paper as good as the Cubs? No, they're not. Does that mean the Cardinals can't catch the Cubs? No, it doesn't mean that either. And the Cubs are certainly dealing with their fair share of injuries. Baseball is fluky. The Cubs are still the Cubs. They're always going to be the Cubs. That's just the way things are. But the Cubs are not that much better than the Cardinals, but the Cubs are not that much better than the Brewers, and they're not that much better than the Reds. Like it's almost what the standings look like right now, I think, tell the story. The fact that you have 4 teams separated by 3 games and you have 3 teams tied for second place, that is, I think, very indicative of what this division looks like and what it's going to continue to look like moving forward. We can take your comments on this today if you would like to. 314-436-7900, 314-436-7900. That's how you call. That's how you text. You can tweet at me at Matt Pauley on air. You can leave a message on the video stream if you are watching on Facebook or YouTube or Twitter. Lots of ways to get connected to the program. We've got more Sports Open Line coming up in just a moment here on KMOX.
Another RX Watch, brought to you by Onder Law.
Welcome back to RX Watch. This alert is disturbing.
Right. A while back, we learned that companies like Johnson & Johnson use a mineral called talc in baby powder and other products.
And studies show that talc, when used for feminine hygiene, can cause ovarian cancer.
Now listen to this. RX Watch has learned that the talc they use is being mined in China.
Right, and talc mined in China contains heavy metal contaminants like chromium and magnesium, which are known to cause cancer. But China doesn't care.
So China gets the jobs and we get contaminated talc in our baby powder.
And ovarian cancer.
Right. With their specialized tests, the medical team at Onder Law can help you know if your ovarian cancer was caused by talc.
Onder Law has helped women for years with free and confidential consultation. You need to call Onder Law's pharma attorneys at 1-800-RX-WATCH.
Call Onder Law at 1-800-RX-WATCH.
That's 1-800-RX-WATCH or go to rxwatch.com.
The choice of a lawyer is an important decision and should not be based solely upon advertisements.
I'm Jenna Fisher.
And I'm Angela Kinsey.
And together we have the podcast Office Ladies.
Just because we finished rewatching The Office does not mean we're going anywhere.
Every Wednesday, we'll be sharing even more exclusive stories from The Office and our friendship with brand new guests. Plus, you can revisit all the Office Ladies rewatch episodes every Monday with new bonus tidbits before every episode.
So follow and listen to Office Ladies on the free Odyssey app and wherever you get your podcasts.
Feel like everything's clouded by doubt? Visit CaliforniaPsychics.com. Our psychics are available to talk 24/7, and we guarantee if it's not life-changing, it's free. Experience the joy of certainty. California Psychics.
Snakes, zombies, public speaking. The list of fears is endless. But the real danger is in your hand when you're behind the wheel. Distracted driving is what's really scary and even deadly. Eyes forward, don't drive distracted. Brought to you by NHTSA and the Ad Council.
Seems everything costs more these days. Gas, groceries, and when's the last time you checked your wireless bill? When it comes to big wireless, if you're staying, you may be overpaying. Switch to Consumer Cellular to get the same fast nationwide coverage without the big wireless bill. Plans start at just $20 a month, and now for a limited time, new customers can get their second month free. Call 1-888-FREEDOM, visit a store near you, or consumercellular.com and start saving today. Plans include $5 credit for autopay and e-billing. Taxes, fees, and other third-party charges will apply. See website for additional details.
When we started Neovitin back in 2009, we wanted to create a multivitamin that we would take ourselves. That's why we use quality ingredients in our Neovitin Original Formula multivitamin. With over 20 vitamins and minerals, along with our physician-formulated proprietary blend, you can be sure you are getting the highest quality daily nutritional support. Give Neovitin Original Formula multivitamin a try for yourself. Find it at your local Schnucks, Dierbergs, and online at neovitin.com.
Ready for instant curb appeal that comes with a 25-year transferable warranty? Call Rhino Shield today. We do brick, block, stucco, asbestos, aluminum, steel, cedar, and more. Over the past 20 years, we've done thousands of homes, businesses, churches, schools, condos, parking garages, large metal buildings, and strip malls, from Champaign to the Lake of the Ozarks. We do flat and sloped metal roofs to extend their lives too. Proud to be veteran-owned and manufactured in the good old USA, so we're tariff-free. We're exceeding expectations every day. Evaluations are free. A+ rated with the BBB and a lot of 5-star Google reviews. Call 877-25-RHINO, 877-25-RHINO, or 877-25rhino.com. See what we did there? Genius. Tell them, ladies.
Don't paint, don't Rhino, go Rhino Shield. Never paint your house again. Rhino Shield.
If you owe the IRS, you have a legal issue, and you need the Lance Drury Law Firm. We'll protect your rights. Log on at LanceDruryLaw.com.
Retiring soon? Get the information you need by joining Kyle Jones and Matt Allgeier of Fire Capital Management for your retirement highway, Sunday mornings at 9:30. Investment advisory services made available through Pine Ridge Advisors, LLC, a registered investment advisor. Securities made available through AE Financial Services, LLC, member FINRA and SIPC.
You asked, We delivered. KMOX, now on FM. Crystal clear sound at 104.1 FM.
Coming up in about 15 minutes, we're going to be joined by Nate Bukaty. We'll get his thoughts on City SC. They won a U.S. Open Cup matchup last night as they defeated Union Omaha, and 2-0. Good for them. They get that win, and now they're back to MLS play as they're going to take on San Diego. That's going to be at Energizer Park this Saturday, and Nate Bukaty is going to be on the call for it, and he'll join us in about 10 minutes or so. We're talking mostly Cardinals baseball and kind of the big headlines coming out of from yesterday to today. Katie Wu wrote about this, and it's become clear. Like, I'm not taking a shot at Katie. Katie's the best. But like, if you watch the team, you know the way they're going to use the bullpen, and you know that they trust Kyle Leahy, Phil Maton, and Ryan Helsley. You know that Steven Matz, based off what Oliver Marmol has already said, that he's going to be the guy who stays in the bullpen now, at least for the time being. He'll probably make a spot start at some point, and if there's injuries, there's certainly a scenario where he ends up back in the rotation. But Matz is in the bullpen. He's got the Matthew Liberatore role from last year where he can give you multiples if you need it. He can mop up if you need it. He can do whatever if you need it, but he's also somebody that you trust and leverage, which is good because they need more guys to trust and leverage. And then kind of the next guy up right now, and he's got to prove it. It's, the last 3 games have been really, really good. 3 games doesn't make a season, is Gordon Graceffo. And if Graceffo continues to pitch at a high level, then at least for the time being, those are your 5 guys that you trust and leverage. You can make it through the season with 5 guys who you trust and leverage. And that doesn't even mention the fact that at some point Ryan Fernandez is going to be back. And I would think that Fernandez is going to get fixed. I don't know if it's this year, but I still very much believe in Ryan Fernandez and who he's going to be moving forward. Jojo Romero has the track record. Got to see if they can get him fixed. But right now he is not as effective as you would like him to be. So he's not really in that group. John King is somebody who tends to get better as the year goes along. But this bullpen is in a very different spot right now. And bullpens are so volatile. All it takes is 2 days of a starting pitcher not going very deep into a game or having a blow up situation or using one of those bullpen pieces and them blowing up. It doesn't take much for everything to get off the rails from a bullpen standpoint. The part of the reason that the Cardinals got such good results from the bullpen over the last few days was 2 of those 3 days, you got 7 innings out of your starter. So that helps. That allows you to line guys up. That allows you to keep the bullpen rested. You want to see a bullpen that's going to be effective. Well, show me one that guys are getting the appropriate amount of rest. And that simply and bluntly was not happening for much of the season, where Kyle Leahy and Phil Maton were being used way too much. Just there. And I understood, that's not a criticism of the decision to use them. It was the byproduct of the circumstances, which you can't really control. And the job is to go out and find ways to win games. And for much of the season, the way to win games was to use those guys late. And the Cardinals were playing a lot of close games. And that's just the situation that they had to deal with. Well, like yesterday is a great example. Those add-on runs were huge because you were able to avoid using somebody in the 9th inning, probably Helsley, maybe Maton. You were able to avoid using that guy yesterday, and you were able to use Roycroft, and that's going to help guys be right. Now, there is such thing as too much rest, and that maybe applies to Ryan Helsley for the totality of the season this year, and that's the way it goes. But it's just the bullpen's in a better spot, and if the Cardinals have 5 guys, 5's my number. If the Cardinals have 5 guys that they can trust, well, then you're gonna win most of those games that you take leads into late. And right now, that very much is the number that they have, and that's a good thing to be able to see. The other big storyline when it comes to the Cardinals, and we learned this last night, Lucan Baker was returned to AAA Memphis. If you are a listener to the Gas House Gang, which you should be, 12 noon every weekday right here on KMOX, we have our Tuesday conversation with Cardinals manager Oliver Marmol. And then during the Redbird Rush Hour, Kevin and I replay some of the cuts and some of the things that Ollie said, and we respond to them. And this week, Ollie was specifically asked about what the roster could look like when Ivan Herrera comes back. Is it an automatic that Joel Pozo goes back down and you carry 2 catchers? Is there any scenario where you carry 3 catchers and you send somebody else down, probably a Lucan Baker? And to Ollie's credit, he talked about it head on, and he gave the reasons why you would potentially send down a Lucan Baker. And it's not overly complicated. It's pretty simple. He's not playing enough. He's not getting enough opportunities. So you send him to Memphis and you hope to get him right. And then at the next chance to bring him back up, you are going to do just that. Joel Pozo, to me, has earned an opportunity at the big league level. I have been impressed with what he has been able to do. Defensively, he is fine. Offensively, pretty darn good. He's a .316 hitter with an .807 OPS. That's solid. So it's hard to send that guy back to AAA. And those numbers might fall off at some point. In fact, the numbers are likely to fall off at some point. There's a reason that this guy has played 21 total major league games in his career and has not gotten a major league opportunity since 2021. That's not me putting him down. That's just me giving facts. He has not. Teams want to win. Teams want to have players that are going to perform. Every team across Major League Baseball has essentially said that they did not believe that Joel Pozo is somebody who can be a regular major leaguer. Is there a chance that every team was wrong and this is who he is and he absolutely deserves to be a guy who's on a major league roster and should never go down to Memphis or whatever AAA team if he's in another organization? Is that a possibility? Do teams miss on guys? Yeah, teams miss on guys. We have this conversation all the time when we talk about Adolis Garcia because the Cardinals missed on him, and then every single other team in baseball missed on him when there was an opportunity for any team to pick him up when he was designated before he kind of came through. So yeah, that happens. But if nothing else, Pozo in his first 11 games with the Cardinals, hitting .316 with that plus 800 OPS, you ride that as long as you can. And if at some point in time, Pozo does come back to earth, if at some point in time, major league pitching starts to do things to him that he has a hard time adjusting to, you've got multiple options at that point. You can go back to Lucan Baker. Thomas Sajaci's going to be there at some point in time. Jimmy Crooks is going to be somebody that you want on the major league roster. And if Crooks gets that opportunity, then you almost have to carry 3 catchers on the roster because you're not going to move on from Ivan Herrera and you're not going to move on from Pedro Pajas. So this roster to me seems like one that is likely to include Ivan Herrera plus 2 more catchers moving forward, unless they were to move somebody, which I don't think is overly likely right now. We will take a break and come back. We'll switch gears. We'll get back to Cardinals baseball coming up later on, mostly Cardinals baseball today. But when we come back, we'll talk City SC as they're back into MLS play this weekend against San Diego after winning a U.S. Open Cup game last night. We'll get into all of that with Nate Bukaty. He joins us in just a moment here on KMOX.
My brother-in-law died suddenly, and now my sister and her kids have to sell their home. That's why I told my husband we could not put off getting life insurance any longer. An agent offered us a 10-year, $500,000 policy for nearly $40 a month. Then we called SelectQuote. SelectQuote found us identical coverage for only $18 a month, a savings of nearly $300 a year.
Whether you need a $100,000 policy or a $10 million policy, SelectQuote could save you more than 50% on term life insurance. In a hurry? Don't worry. With SelectQuote, you can get up to $2 million in instant, affordable same-day coverage with no medical exam.
Call SelectQuote at 1-800-637-9116. That's 1-800-637-9116. Or go to SelectQuote.com. That's 1-800-637-9116. Full details on example policies at SelectQuote.com/commercials.
We can get more sleep, we can get more sun, and we can get more exercise, but the one thing we can't get more of is time. It's time to eliminate the one phrase that could be holding you back from reaching your retirement goals. I'll take care of it tomorrow. It's time to pick up the phone and make the call to Gary Goldberg and the team at Financial and Tax Strategies, 314-991-9005, or online at checkwithgary.com.
Investment advisory services offered through Centaurus Financial, Inc., an FFC registered investment advisor. Insurance and annuities offered through Gary Goldberg, NPN number 918615.
There's a big red barn where you save green. Norm's Bargain Barn. Discount windows, doors, and things. Norm's Bargain Barn.
Hi, I'm Norm Wilkie. Come see my new selection of Amish cabinetry made by my good Amish friends at Countrywood Products. We now stock 5 styles of cabinetry for you to choose from.
When you need to save on discount windows, doors, and cabinetry, come to Norm's Bargain Barn. With locations in Shiloh and Fenton at the bottom of Gravois Bluffs. Visit normsbargainbarn.com.
That's normsbargainbarn.com.
When you own a business, you know there's no shortage of bold moments. At VOS, we're here to help you meet those moments in stride. Whether it's reducing your exposure to check fraud, setting up direct deposit, or helping make credit card processing seamless, VOS is here for you, your employees, and your customers. Are you ready for a better banking experience? Then make the bold move and switch to VOS today. Visit bankwithvos.com. Member FDIC.
This Memorial Day weekend, bring your crew to Busch Stadium to see the Cardinals take on the D-backs. May 23rd to the 25th, catch great promotions all weekend long, including a Mason Win bobblehead and a Kid City Connect jersey giveaway. Kick off your summer with ballpark hot dogs, ice-cold beers, and entertainment for the whole family. Tickets are available at Cardinals.com. This is how summer is meant to be. See you at the ballpark.
This is Alec Burleson, St. Louis Cardinals, for the Lou.
Catch a Cardinals game on your next date night or friends night out. Whether it's love in the stands or laughter with your crew, nothing beats ballpark vibes under the lights. Cold drinks, great eats, and Cardinals baseball. Check out Friday Night Live at Busch Stadium and enjoy happy hour price food and drinks all game long. Every Friday home game. Get your tickets today at Cardinals.com and make memories that go beyond the scoreboard. Busch Stadium, where great nights begin.
This month, Siteman Cancer Center Spotlight is testicular cancer. Dr. Woodson Smelser.
Testis cancer is a disease primarily of men 18 to 45. And so for men in that age segment, we recommend doing just a monthly testicular self-exam. And you can do this in the shower and just basically feel for any abnormal lumps or bumps on the surface of the testicle. And then, of course, if you find something like that, that's when you need to contact your doctor and get further workup.
Thanks to Siteman Cancer Center, national leaders in cancer. For more information, visit siteman.wustl.edu.
Mizzou football is here to stay. After an undefeated home season and a second straight 10-win year, the Tigers are looking for more in 2025.
Eli and the boys have done it again.
With a top 10 transfer portal class and a strong home schedule highlighted by Kansas, Alabama, South Carolina, and Texas A&M, you don't want to miss out. Get your spot in line by joining the season ticket waitlist at mutigers.com/FB waitlist. MIZ.
KMOX is now on 104.1 FM, the same great station with even better sound.
We are back at it here on KMOX. It is a Gray Bar Sports Open Line. We are efforting right now Nate Bucati. We hope to get him on to talk some City SC soccer in the next few moments or so, as he's got the call tonight, or not tonight, on Saturday, I should say, for Apple TV and MLS Season Pass when they are going to City SC will match up against San Diego. So we do hope to talk to him coming up in the next few moments or so, if we are able to get in contact with him. Look, it was good to see City get a win last night. Like I said earlier when I opened up the show, you don't begrudge a victory, right? Like, you won. But you beat a lesser opponent. You beat a team from USL Pro, which is definitely a lesser opponent, a lesser league than MLS. At the same time, there have been some MLS teams that have been knocked out here early on in the US Open Cup. Now, some of those teams are not taking things totally seriously based off the personnel that they're using. I think by watching and seeing who City used last night, you could tell that it mattered, right? It mattered that they wanted to win that. Not a lot has gone right for them recently, so it was a chance to get right. The last thing you wanted was almost like an accidental loss where it's scoreless, and then Union Omaha gets a goal late when they got that second goal. That was important. At the same time, you bring Clausen. You bring a guy who, for most teams, that guy with that stature, that guy's not playing in that match. And he played last night. You were able to extend the lead out to 2-0, and you get the win. It's just, this team has not yet done, I'm happy they won last night. This team has not yet done anything that would make you think that they're going to start having more success in MLS play. I don't know if that's one you build off of. Like, we talk about that all the time, even losses sometimes. Well, you can build off this loss. You can build off this part of it. I don't know if yesterday is something they can build off of. It's a win. You get to feel good walking into the locker room after the game. That's good. Again, I'm not trying to put that down, but it's something that it was not the type of dominant when they played Union Omaha in the U.S. Open Cup just a couple years ago. They beat them by a lot, and it didn't happen for them yesterday. Now they're going to match up against San Diego this week. By the way, can I be a jerk for a second? I try not to be a jerk. I really don't. Being a jerk isn't really my thing, but I couldn't help but think this last night. So I was watching the broadcast, and Energizer Park was about as empty as I have seen it. The fans that were there were great. They were making noise. Obviously, the supporter section and everything, they were doing their thing. So this is not a criticism of the people who were there at Energizer Park last night. Not a criticism of them at all. But there's a little bit of a background to this, because there's a group of fans that were very unhappy last year when City did not participate in the U.S. Open Cup. And if you remember, they actually did a protest of the event that they played in instead. So now when City did not have as good of a year this past year, that puts them back into the U.S. Open Cup, and there's been some other rule changes and adjustments on who participates in the U.S. Open Cup and who does not. But if you're going to sit there and make as big of a deal as a group of people did last year about not being in the U.S. Open Cup and taking it to a level of protesting, I was disappointed that that there was not more fans in that were there, right? That was my disappointment. And I'm the last person to be critical of fans walking into a stadium, because unfortunately that has largely been a conversation that we've had connected to the Cardinals. And it's not a conversation I like to have. And it's been more pronounced with the Cardinals. And it's probably not even fair on my behalf to sit there and be critical of a team, that has one night where the attendance isn't great. So I'm probably not being fair. I'll recognize that I'm not being fair. To me, I thought, I don't know if ironic's the right way to say it. Just the looking at this situation and seeing that there was all this made last year about not being in the U.S. Open Cup. They're back in the U.S. Open Cup, and then attendance is not especially good last night. I'm not being critical of the attendance. I'm being critical of the way this whole thing went down, with fans making such a big deal of things last year, and then when all is said and done, it's not even like there's a ton of people in the stadium once they get back into the U.S. Open Cup. I thought that was kind of funny. I don't think we are going to get Nate Bukaty. We might be able to get some. We're going to take an early break right here, And when we come back, I think we're going to have somebody from Apple TV. If not, we'll jump back into the Cardinals conversation. So we'll take an early break here, and I'm going to work on a couple things, and then we'll be back in just a moment. This is a Gray Bar Sports Open Line on KMOX.
Hi, I'm Andrew Suntrup. Buying your brand new Buick or GMC has never been easier. Here at Suntrup Buick GMC, our family-owned and operated dealership has been proudly servicing St. Charles County for over 30 years by always providing aggressive pricing, a massive inventory selection, and exceptional customer service. Buying from Suntrup means you get the best vehicle at the best price. Visit Suntrup Buick GMC today or visit us online at suntrupbuickgmc.com and save more at Suntrup Buick GMC.
I'm John Morgan of Morgan & Morgan. If you've been diagnosed with mesothelioma, call us now. $30 billion was set aside for meso victims, and in most cases, your claim is settled out of court without a jury trial. Visit forthepeople.com for an office near you.
Life insurance. Why are you putting it off? Can't afford it? Too much hassle? Think you don't need it? There's lots of excuses for putting off life insurance. But if you weren't there, who would pay the mortgage and other bills? With Ethos, you could be covered in 10 minutes and boom, family protected. Ethos, fast and easy online term life insurance. Up to $2 million in coverage with no medical exam. Some policies as low as $1 a day. Answer a few health questions and get your free quote at ethos.com/radio. That's ethos.com/radio. Wesley Financial Group is not a law firm.
Do you find yourself stuck in a timeshare? Get the real facts about the timeshare industry and your options for cancellation. Chuck McDowell, founder of Wesley Financial Group, has put together a free information guide that reveals the secrets the timeshare industry doesn't want you to know, including the 5 ways to get rid of your timeshare. Call now and get this timeshare cancellation guide absolutely free.
Call 800-921-5252. 800-921-5252. That's 800-921-5252.
Hi, Mia here at the winnings desk of the Missouri Lottery. So, I wanted to write a thank you note for every dollar Missouri Lottery players have given to Missouri and education, but that would be 8.4 billion notes. So to save a little time and a whole lot of paper, here's just one. Dear every single lottery player in Missouri, thank you for helping us give $8.4 billion to Missouri and education. Sorry, my trumpet's in the shop. The Missouri Lottery. Winners welcome and play responsibly.
Hey guys, Glover here for my friends at Cantor Injury Law. So as you know, I'm a lawyer, haven't practiced in a long time, but I did plaintiff's work and defense work, so I have a pretty good understanding of it. I have a pretty good idea of who's who in the firmament of plaintiffs, attorneys, and for my money, Mark Cantor is the guy. He's a great attorney. He is a great practitioner. He's put together a great team. He was born and raised here. He lives here. He works here. He wins here. Call 314-628-ALL-9s or CantorInjuryLaw.com. The choice of a lawyer is an important decision and should not be based on advertisements.
You know, we live in a world right now where who provides your internet can be a really big thing because we rely on internet so much. Of course, we're all streaming Netflix and Hulu and everything else. We're streaming more and more sports. Cardinals are going to be on a streaming service coming up tomorrow night. For those of you who watch, of course, you can always listen right here, but that's neither here nor there. If you are going to be streaming stuff, you want to make sure that you've got a reliable connection. Maybe you've got a Ring camera. Maybe you've got kids and you've got, nanny cams and things like that. All those things require a reliable internet connection. And bluntly, a lot of internet service providers, anything but reliable. Rains a little bit of wind, internet you don't even need bad weather. The internet's just going to drop out for no reason. That's what used to happen to me before I had i3 broadband. If that's what you experience, make the switch because i3 broadband, I'm spending a little bit less money now. I'm getting better service. I'm getting faster service. Super easy to bring in. You're going to love it. Put your address in at i3broadband.com. That's i3broadband.com. They're always adding more neighborhoods. So if you've done that before, do it again. Keep doing it. i3broadband.com. You'll love it.
Farming's hard. To feed the world, farmers have to work the land, brave the elements, and fight the battle against weeds. Weeds reduce crop yields, so prices go up and everybody gets less to eat. But 50 years ago, farmers got a new tool to fight weeds, glyphosate. It kills weeds while protecting the harvest. Time and again, it has been approved by the EPA and by leading regulatory bodies around the world. It helps enable practices that reduce erosion and keep soil healthy, which is good for the earth. Farming's hard, but it's a little easier with glyphosate. Learn more at go.bayer.com/glyphosate. Paid for by Bayer.
For all station contest rules, go to KMOX.com/rules. Welcome back to the Gray Bar Sports Open Line. Once again, Matt Pauley on KMOX.
Back at it.
Just a few minutes left here in hour number 1 of the program. Hour number 2, we're going to talk with Battlehawks kicker Rodrigo Blankenship. He is going to join us, talk all things Battlehawks football. We'll continue the Cardinals conversation, getting some good comments coming in as well on the text line about the Cardinals, and even through the on the video stream as well. So we'll touch on some of those things and open up the phones and give you a chance to chime in on the Cardinals as well. That's all going to be coming up in just a while. But as mentioned, City SC, they played in the U.S. Open Cup yesterday. They come away with a win, and they're going to get back at it coming up this weekend as they play host to San Diego. And we're very happy to welcome on to the broadcast. He's going to be the analyst on Apple TV and MLS Season Pass this weekend. It is Devin Kerr. Devin, thanks for taking some time with us today. How are you?
I appreciate you having me on. Sorry for any mix-ups that were down the stretch with my partner, but you were smart. You went to the bullpen. You brought the lefty in. So I'm ready to rock.
You're the closer. You're holding on to a one-run lead, and you're going to
strike out being left side dominant hasn't benefited me most in my life, but people pay good money for the lefties. So let's do it, man.
All right, there you go. What do you take? So, again, I know it was an MLS play, and we'll preview the San Diego matchup, but City has been struggling so much. They find a way to win last night, 2-0 against Union Omaha in the Open Cup, but that's a much lesser team that stuck around. It was scoreless at the first half. Did you take more positives or more negatives for City out of last night?
I took more positives.
Okay.
And so that we're clear, I'm not the person that blows smoke, for better or for worse. I tell you how I feel. And in this situation, I think a team that has really been struggling for any sort of glimpse attacking wise and some sort of consistency, even on the defensive front, because they've been leaking goals recently. This was it. I firmly agree with you in the sense that, they certainly let a quote-unquote lesser opponent from a lower division hang around too long. But there was good looks going forward. I thought Simon Betcher was excellent on the night. Certainly one of the better players in a St. Louis City uniform, had a couple of good looks. Celio Pompeo was touch and go. We got a semi-decent look of Jean de Silva and what that's going to be. But, most importantly, you did get a result. Cup football is different than domestic play. The mindset changes. It's a character game. And I think it sets up some real confidence for what is going to be a drastically tall task against San Diego FC, especially after the 5-0 that just was.
Again, I'm not trying to be dismissive of Union Omaha. This question is going to sound like I am. That's not the intent here. It's lesser athletes. So with that, there's going to be some more room. If you're City SC and you have just not gotten that room and not been able to do anything that you wanted to do in recent weeks in MLS play, is there value, even if it doesn't end in a goal, is there value in play, what you were just talking about, having some looseness and actually being able to do something that you would like to do, if that makes sense?
Yes. And I would say something, I agree with you in terms of the lesser opponent, certainly on the athletic side. Usually the biggest discrepancy that you're going to get from first division to third division or lower divisions in general is two things. Number one is athleticism, and number two is consistency. Skill sets can actually be quite similar. It's who can recreate it on a regular basis more frequently. That is big. The biggest difference from, D3, D2, D1, so on and so forth. The good takeaway that I had were the moments in the first half. When you talk about lesser spaces, I actually thought there were some really good moments where they created in tight-knit areas. This Union Omaha team is not a team that sits deep and defends like that. Not domestically in the USL League One. They actually play a lot more like San Diego FC, combined with a little bit of St. Louis City, and I would add in a touch of flair on the attacking side like LAFC. You bring all three of those together, good ball movement, deep lying defending, and high-level attacking. That's what Union Omaha is. They park the bus. I don't care if you take 50 middle schoolers and put them out there in front of 10 professional players. That's not an easy thing to break through. Trust me, I've messed around with it from a charity standpoint. They're like little bees, just keep buzzing in your way, and it's hard to do. So I think you have to take positive thoughts out of it. I think the most important thing for St. Louis City fans is they're going to sit there and go, it hasn't been good. It's a lower opponent. We should have beat them. Yeah, but you did beat them. And you moved on in the final 16 of a cup competition where that is still, in this country, the fastest route to get a trophy and to get in a CONCACAF Champions Cup. St. Louis City has been here before in 23. They did it in 24. Slow starts in 24, fast start, then cooled off in 23. And the Cup competition in 23 gave them a little bit of a limelight. Again, I'm very much a glass half full person. I think the problems are still very real, and I'm more than happy to dive into those. But coming out of that specific result, if you're in that locker room, you have to remain positive. If you're looking over your shoulder or the other direction and thinking negative, that only spells doomsday, and that makes your season funnel even worse.
Okay, so their last MLS action was against Seattle, where it might have been their worst performance in their existence when they lost by a 4-1 score. If it wasn't the worst, it was one of the
Agreed.
2 or 3. How the game yesterday notwithstanding, how in the world do you bounce back from that to put together a competitive game against San Diego on this weekend?
Well, number one, you got to retain hope, and I think that is not just hope of, okay, we can be better and go get a better result. I think it's hope that in the near future, although I think Ben Lunt has done an excellent job in goal, that you get Roman Berkey back, not just because of his performances in net. Obviously, we know his great, but the expectation of leadership and the role that he brings within a group. I'm not just talking about 90 minutes. When you have a leader like that who has seen the success, who has helped lead you to heights, I don't want to call it the promised land because we know that 23 didn't end the way that everybody wanted it to after the record start, that you retain the idea that you can still get back there. And the consistency of guys like that are the ones that get you there. Edouard Lubin came into the game yesterday, and while he had a ton of frustration for his teammates around him, I thought he had some quality moments within the game. Now, mentally, where is he at? That's probably a bigger ask than his ability to get back
Peruvian nationality. The new pope saying through an interpreter,
God who loves all of us without any limits and conditions.
President Trump congratulates the new pope and says, "What a great honor for our country." The president names a new interim U.S. attorney for Washington, D.C. Linda Kenyon with more on Fox News host and former judge Jeanine Pirro.
In a post on Truth Social, President Trump called her incredibly well qualified and went on to call her one of the top district attorneys in the history of the state of New York. Judge Pirro was named just hours after the president told reporters he was pulling his first pick, Ed Martin, an organizer of the Stop the Steal movement. Trump withdrew the nomination after North Carolina Republican Senator Tom Tillis said he would vote against it.
A trade agreement with the UK. President Trump says it would include billions of dollars of increased market access for American exports, including beef, ethanol, and other farm products.
In addition, the UK will reduce or eliminate numerous non-tariff barriers that unfairly discriminated against American products. But this is now turning out, I think, really to be a great deal for both countries.
The average rate on a 30-year mortgage in the U.S. has held steady this week. Mortgage buyer Freddie Mac says the rate remained at 6.7% for the second week in a row. A year ago, the rate averaged slightly over 7%. The World Video Game Hall of Fame inducts Defender, Tamagotchi, GoldenEye 007, and Quake. The Hall of Fame in Rochester, New York, looks for video games that have exhibited staying power and influenced the video game industry or pop culture. Stocks closed up on Wall Street. The Dow closed up 254 points. NASDAQ jumped 190. This is CBS News.
Think O'Reilly Auto Parts for all your car care needs. Get the parts and service you need fast from the professional parts people at O'Reilly Auto Parts.
At 7:03, it's a partly cloudy sky and 70 downtown at the Arch. In the 1970s, a young man by the name of Bob served as a novice for a year at a South St. Louis church. Today, he was named Pope Leo XIV. St. Louis and Steve Baker remembers the new pope from his days at the Augustinian Church here, says Pope Leo XIV reminds him of Pope Francis.
You know, the guy he was all about the people. And I think Pope Leo XIV will be about the people.
Baker says Robert Prevost, the Pope's birth name, was an unassuming blue-collar man, and he remembers drinking coffee and talking music and sports with him. St. Louis County says it has stopped the spread of parvo at the county's animal shelter.
County Executive Sam Page says they have not seen any new infections in recent days. He adds currently they are working on deep cleaning the shelter.
There's a whole lot of cleaning going on. The parvo can spread from animal to animal. It can live on surfaces.
Page says they will soon begin reviewing how the county handled the outbreak. Sean Malone, KMOX News.
The Missouri Senate passes a wide-ranging K-12 education bill. The legislation includes a ban on cell phones and students in the classroom throughout the entire length of the school day, including both class time and lunch breaks. The sponsor, Republican Mike Henderson of St. Francis County, says each school district would be responsible for crafting its own cell phone policy.
So all we say in that bill is they have to have a policy prohibiting using it from bell to bell. They can use it on field trips in this version. But some schools will let them leave in their pocket, just say you can't use them. Some of them have shelves built in some places where they have them put them. We left it fully open for the schools to promulgate the rules that work best for them.
Missouri Net reports the bill would also put in place measures to remove lead from drinking water in schools and require schools to have response plans for heart emergencies, traumatic blood loss, natural disasters, and armed intruders. It now goes to the Missouri House, and if it passes there, it goes to the governor's desk. A St. Louis Blues coach now behind the bench for the Anaheim Ducks. He's considered to be one of the best in NHL history. Problem is, Joel Quenneville also comes with a lot of controversy. He admitted to helping cover up the sexual assault of a young Chicago Blackhawks player by the team's video coach during the Hawks Stanley Cup winning season of 2010. He was just reinstated to work in the league again. Eric Stevens at The Athletic explains why Quenneville is now the right man to coach the Ducks.
There's no mistaking Joel Quenneville when it comes to his coaching credentials. 3 Stanley Cups on his resume. He's the second winningest coach of all time behind Scotty Bowman. The man wins wherever he goes.
And the forecast from Dave Murray. Clouds tonight give way to clearing sky, low 50. For tomorrow, a lot of sunshine, high 70. Clearing tonight or tomorrow night, low 48. And for Saturday, to start the weekend, lots of sunshine, high 73. Right now, downtown at the Arch, we've got some clouds at 70. I'm Michael Calhoun, KMOX News.
Welcome back to the Gray Bar Sports Open Line. Once again, Matt Pauley on KMOX.
Back
back at it as we roll on. It appears that we got everything figured out, so I think we are going to be good when it comes to getting Battlehawks kicker Rodrigo Blankenship back onto the program coming up in just a little while, and hopefully all is well. As always, if you want to join us, 314-436-7900. 314-436-7900. That's how you call. That's how you text. You can tweet at me as well, at Matt Pauley on air. Did want to play something for you, as this kind of became a little bit of a controversy today. At no point in time did I ever think that on Sports Open Line we would be sitting here talking a lot about the Pope, because there is a new Pope in place, and it's kind of cool. The Pope's got some ties to St. Louis, as very early on in his career. He spent a year working in the St. Louis area. So he's a Chicago guy, right? And when the news first came out, all of a sudden there were reports out there that said the new Pope is a Cubs fan. And here's the thing. How do I say this nicely? When hardcore news people that don't know sports try to do sports, sometimes the information is not factually correct. Like, I'm not trying to take shots at anybody, even though it kind of sounds like I am. If there's ever a big national sports story, and maybe you're like listening to our national sports or our national news updates, or you're watching national news and they don't have a sports person there, there's a pretty good chance they're going to mispronounce somebody's name, or there's going to be some context to it that they don't get right. So that's just a little piece of information to keep in your back pocket, that when sports and regular news collide, if there is some sort of news that is coming from somebody that is not connected via the sports standpoint, then it's there's a chance it might get wrong. Like, so I believe, I'm not trying to call anybody out. It may have been ABC News that said today that the new Pope is a Cubs fan. Well, what could have easily happened is somebody told somebody at ABC News that the new Pope is a Chicago baseball fan. And, the Chicago Cubs. Okay. And then they just went with it. He's a Cubs fan. No, he's a Chicago baseball fan. You don't know if that's Cubs. You don't know if it's White Sox. Again, people in the old sports industrial complex, our next question would be Cubs or White Sox. Which one is it? Big difference. Big difference. But somebody who's not in the sports world is going to sit there. Oh, they just know Cubs. So it's Chicago baseball. So that no ill will involved in this. But unfortunately, when there is some incorrect information that gets out there, it can just go crazy. In fact, so much so that the Cubs even tweeted out a picture of the marquee at Wrigley Field, the very famous Wrigley Field, home of the Chicago Cubs, with it reading, "Hey, Chicago, he's a Cubs fan." No, he's not. He's not a Cubs fan. He's not. Fake news, as somebody would say. That's not something I say very often. In fact, I'm a little embarrassed that those words even just came out of my mouth. But it's true. That is not true. The Chicago Cubs are lying to you. We should. They do those little like community notes on Twitter. Yeah, we need to community note that. Somebody get on this. I'm somebody who's smarter than me and knows how to like request a community note. Go there, and you can, if you go to my Twitter, you can see where I retweeted something from the Pope's brother saying that he was never. In fact, you know what? Let's just go ahead and play this. This is our new Pope. I'm not Catholic. Can I say our? Sure. Our new popes, the new popes. I don't even know the language to go with here. The new Pope's brother. This is what he had to say. Credit goes to WGN News in Chicago. They spoke with the Pope's brother, and they were really getting into the hard news here.
Yeah, he was never, ever a Cubs fan, so I don't know where that came from. He was always a Sox fan. Our mother was a Cubs fan. I don't know, maybe that clued in there. And our dad was a Cardinals fan, so I don't know where that all came from. And all the aunts, our mom's family was from North Side, so that's why they were Cubs fans.
But he rooted for the White Sox.
That's right. But where it came from, I don't know, because he would have been the only one.
Okay, so there it is. Again, the first statement out of the Pope brother's name or Pope brother's mouth is very important.
Yeah, he was never, ever a Cubs fan, so I don't know.
He was never, ever a Cubs fan. He was never, ever a Cubs fan. So at Cubs on Twitter and everybody out there the Chicago media, the baseball media in Chicago, they were taking victory laps this morning. You couldn't go anywhere on social media without seeing everybody in Chicago celebrating the fact that the new Pope is a Cubs fan. And it was not true, not real at all. At all. Dude's a White Sox fan. Good for him. Now, the Pope's brother did mention his mom. God bless her. I'm sorry. She was a Cubs fan, but much more importantly, his dad was a Cardinals fan. So mom a Cubs fan because she grew up in Northside Chicago. Dad was a Cardinals fan. Don't know where the dad grew up, but it doesn't matter. He was a Cardinals fan. And then somehow, some way, he became he grew up on the south side of Chicago. So he became a White Sox fan. So yeah, for those of you who are watching on the video stream, you can see the marquee where the Cubs are just lying to you. You know what? If you're Catholic and you're a Cubs fan, you shouldn't be a Cubs fan anymore. This should offend, not just if you're Christian, if you have a faith in anything. If you have a faith in anything and you're a Cubs fan, you should say you have to denounce your fandom. You know, some people want to denounce God. No, denounce the Cubs. Denounce them. And because they are lying to you about the Pope. I mean, there's a lot of things in this world that you can lie about, and you'll probably get away with it. You'll be okay. It's going to be all right. Like, I'm never somebody to say that lying is okay, but like, what's the stat? We all lie, a lie comes out of our mouth like once every hour or something crazy like that. I don't know. Maybe it's more often than not. That's what the statistic says. Okay. So if we're all lying about stuff, that's fine. But you're lying about the Pope, man. If Wrigley Field has like a massive power outage or something, we know why, right? If that marquee gets hit by lightning, we know why. The answer to that is because...
Yeah, he was never, ever a Cubs fan.
He was never, ever a Cubs fan. He was never, ever a Cubs fan. So there you go. Kevin, by the way, sends a message and does not appreciate me using this time to talk about the Pope. Come on. A new Pope gets put in place like once every third or fourth time in my lifetime. It doesn't happen very often, and now we've got the baseball angle to go along with that. Oh, and I'm getting some stuff on the text that people enjoy me talking about the Pope. So there you go. The Pope is not a Cubs fan, and that applies to by the way, you want the Cardinals to be good. Like we don't need any favor towards the Cubs. We just don't need that. So the Pope and probably if the Pope's you know what I know about White Sox fans? White Sox fans don't like the Cubs. They do. They take offense. If you've ever been around Chicago baseball fans, like Cubs fans don't really hate the White Sox. They're sort of just not even on their radar. White Sox fans hate the Cubs. White Sox fans tend to hate Cubs fans. There is much more hate from the White Sox to the Cubs than there is from the Cubs to the White Sox. So I know he's the Pope. He's not supposed to hate. That's a pretty important part of all of this. But he probably has a negative disposition. Let's go with that. Negative disposition towards the Cubs. So I'm happy about that. We've run this thing down. We have figured it out. The Pope does not like the Cubs. He likes the White Sox. This is a Gray Bar Sports Open Line on KMOX.
You are a successful electrical contractor, but you plus a dedicated team supporting your project from day one? That's taking your productivity to the next level. And Graybar can help you get there. Your relationships plus our relationships. Your capabilities plus our job site services. Your challenges plus our technical specialists. You alone can get the job done, but you plus Graybar, that's smart business. Yep, Graybar does that.
Cardinal Cowboy here. Years ago, doctors said I'd never be independent after a bad car accident. Well, I proved them wrong. When proving who's the best in garage doors, Renner does it every time. Whether it's service or a new door, you're covered with top brands like Delden, Amar, and LiftMaster. Keep your garage door running strong with Renner's $100 maintenance check, or get a free replacement quote. Call or click RennerDoorSTL.com. Renner, forward and back.
RENNER, RENNER.
It's not too late for a deep spring cleaning on your home. Give my friends at Zero Res a call today. Get 3 rooms of carpet clean for only $129. Take $75 off your air duct cleaning. Visit ZeroResSTL.com and tell them that Dave Glover sent you.
Don't miss Mosby Building Arts Home Improvement Show, Saturdays from 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. on KMOX. One of the last call-in shows where you can get live answers to your remodeling, design, and construction questions. Tune in Saturdays at 11 a.m.
We've been here 30 years. 30 Christmases in this house, and we have the traditions that most families have.
That's Terry talking about her experience with Rhino Shield ceramic coating.
We did Rhino Shield 14 years ago, and the house still looks the same as the first day. Rhino Shield really worked with me to help me get just the right, nice, soft yellow, and it's 14 years later, and it's the same color.
The main reason Terry called Rhino Shield is because it's backed by its 25-year transferable warranty.
It just sounded wonderful that we could have the house coated with Rhino Shield and not have to worry about it again for 25 years.
Take it from Terry. Give Rhino Shield a call now for a free evaluation. 877-25-RHINO. 877-25-RHINO. Or visit 877-25rhino.com.
There have been neighbors that have come by and said, "Did you just have your house painted?" Because they wanted to know who the contractor was. And I said, "No, it's actually Rhino Shield."
877-25rhino.com.
We can get more sleep, we can get more sun, and we can get more exercise, but the one thing we can't get more of is time. It's time to eliminate the one phrase that could be holding you back from reaching your retirement goals. I'll take care of it tomorrow. It's time to pick up the phone and make the call to Gary Goldberg and the team at Financial and Tax Strategies. 314-991-9005 or online at checkwithgary.com.
Investment advisory services offered through Centaurus Financial, Inc., an FFC registered investment advisor. Insurance and annuities offered through Gary Goldberg, NPN number 918615.
My house has a new glow. I love my windows. Universal Windows Direct.
Hey guys, it's Glover. Right now, get 50% off your windows. That's half off plus no interest and no payments for 12 months and a free entry door with your window purchase. Call 314-334-2522. Like me, you'll be saying, I love my windows.
I love my windows. They've got that brand new home effect. Universal Windows Direct.
Wesley Financial Group is not a law firm. If you own a timeshare, don't miss this important announcement from Chuck McDowell, founder of Wesley Financial Group.
If you receive an unsolicited phone call or mail piece to discuss selling, renting, or especially canceling your timeshare, don't fall for it. If you really want out of your timeshare, hang the phone up immediately or throw that mail piece in the trash and contact your timeshare resort or Wesley Financial Group for assistance with your timeshare. As the only Inc. 500 timeshare cancellation company, our knowledge, experience, and results has made Wesley a trusted resource for over 40,000 families we've helped get out of their timeshare. Give us a call and I'll send you our timeshare exit information kit free with the straight facts about your timeshare and all of your options for cancellation.
Call for your free info kit, 800-384-7878, 800-384-7878, 800-384-7878.
News, talk, cars. 104.1 FM KMOX.
Back at Grey Bar Sports Open Line right here on KMOX. I initially meant to just kind of throw that Pope thing in as sort of a side thing, but no, he's not a Cubs fan, so we had to go with that. John Camp is our reporter. He even said that he just got an ESPN notification on his phone that they said that, you know, that's with that same audio that I just mentioned. So it's news. It's news that he is very much not a Cubs fan. He's a White Sox fan. So we will move on from that conversation for now. We are awaiting a call from Rodrigo Blankenship. Hope to talk with him coming up in just a moment or so, as we will talk with him about all things Battlehawks football. He is coming off a really solid week where he was named the Special Teams Performer of the Week for the United Football League. He has been the most reliable kicker in the league so far this year. He is the only UFL kicker that has not yet missed a field goal, and he was 2 for 2 this past weekend, and his 14 successful field goals this year tops in the league. So hopefully we will talk with Rodrigo coming up in just a moment or so. So there you go. Again, Cardinals are off today. That's why we've got the full 2-hour show. They're about to hit the road for a 3-city trip, and man, 3-city trips scare me. They do. It can go okay. Like you can get done with it and say, okay, you survived the 3-city trip for sure, and everything ends up being okay. And bluntly, like they're on this 3-city trip that starts tomorrow. You've got 2 of the 3 teams are very beatable teams in Washington and Kansas City. I think you really hope that you can take 2 out of 3 from Washington, and you also hope that Kansas City starts to slow down. Kansas City's on a run. I don't know if people have really noticed the run that they are on. Now, a large part of it is connected to the fact that they've been playing terrible teams here recently. They played a 3-game series against the Orioles where they won the last 2, and then they played a 4-gamer against who we just were talking about, the White Sox, and they were able to sweep through that. So it definitely helps the Royals that they've been playing lesser competition, but the season got started. They had a very slow start to their year. So it's been a year of kind of a roller coaster. So in that way, it might actually be good that the Cardinals are catching Kansas City at the end of the trip, because maybe by that time they slow down. Like that scares me about Baltimore. They're going to face off against Baltimore at the end of the month. Baltimore's terrible right now. I don't know how terrible they are going to be as the year ends up going along. But you don't want them to kind of get some wind in their sails before the Cardinals face them. So look, people like me look too deep into these things, right? Like you look at the schedule and you try to analyze the schedule, and you want to be playing this team at this time. It's a 3-city trip. Which team would you want to play first? Which team would you want to play last? And I do that. I'm guilty of it. I've been talking about it here over the last few minutes. At the end of the day, go win games, and it's going to be okay. I got a text message earlier from 314 when I was talking about kind of my expectations for this team moving forward. And my expectations haven't changed from the start of the season. I still think this team has as wide of a range from their ceiling to floor as just about any team in baseball. Can this team keep doing a version of what they're doing right now and stay in contention and stay in the neighborhood of 500 and maybe even a little bit more than 500 because they go on a little bit of a run? Yeah, all of that is possible. Is it also possible that this team completely falls off? Yeah, that is very much a possibility as well. And especially, they've basically been the 4th place team in the division for much of the season. Right now, they're tied for 2nd, but it's a 3-way tie. So, from a semantical standpoint, they're tied for 4th as well. You got the 1st place team with the Cubs, and then you got 3 teams after that are there. So we've talked about it. This is going to be a season where I think they're going to be really close. But again, the text message I got, it asked me if I was losing my mind because there's still 120 games to go, because I have been somewhat positive about what's going on. I don't think I'm losing my mind. And I'll repeat what I said before the season even got started. Like I don't get everything right. I get stuff wrong. I know I get stuff wrong. And I'm going to continue to get stuff wrong on an occasion for sure. But my whole thing before the season got started was I didn't understand why people had such low expectations for this Cardinals team, where the offense by luck was going to be better. Starting pitching was probably going to be about the same. And even if the bullpen took a step back from last year, it wasn't going to take so much of a step back that it outweighed what you were going to gain from a step forward from the offense. Now, what I didn't get right in all that is at its worst this year, when the bullpen has just been completely non-trustworthy, that's been enough for this team to look bad. That's been enough for this team to have a really, really hard time winning games. They have seemingly righted the ship a little bit. I still believe in a lot of these guys. This Gordon Graceffo development, that's a big thing right now. And I'm not trying to put a lot on him. Again, he's a guy who didn't make the club out of spring, had his first opportunity with the Cardinals earlier this year and it didn't go well. I mean, dude's got a +6 ERA, but what we've seen from him in these last 3 appearances it's been very promising to see what we've seen from him. And if you can start to rely on him a little bit more, and if starting pitching can continue to stay healthy, where you've got the opportunity to keep Steven Matz there in the bullpen, well, all that adds up to a team that should be better than the team was last year. I don't think that's crazy. That again, that's where I never the 4th place finish, the just over 70 win prognostications from people going into this season. That's where I jumped off, because I'm not telling you this team's going to be in the playoffs. I'm not even telling you this team's for sure going to be over 500. I think they'll be in the neighborhood, but I just didn't understand why so many people had this assumption that it was going to be a complete drop off, even compared from last year. Even if you thought the bullpen was going to take a little bit of a step back, the other stuff should have been good enough. And I think that's the way it's played out through the first almost 40 games of the season, through 38 games here so far this year. That's the way it has seemingly played out. And if they can play better on the road, that would go a long way toward, like, you look for reasons that they can be better. And I think specifically the reasons that they can be better than what they've done in the first 38 games is they should have a better win-loss record on the road. And they should also, and they also play a schedule that's going to be a little bit easier. Now, from a perspective why they may not be as good offensively, can this hold up? Because there are some gaudy numbers. Maybe gaudy's too strong. One of them's gaudy because of where it's ranked. The St. Louis Cardinals right now have the best team batting average in all of Major League Baseball. They are number 1. They have a .260 team batting average. You listen to me a lot. I know I'm dismissive of batting average a lot. Like, I don't think that tells the story. I'm an OPS guy over more than anything else. So I feel like I'm talking out of both sides of my mouth when all of a sudden when batting average is when it supplements my point, all of a sudden I start using it. So I'm trying to be fair about this. I'm not telling you that batting average is end all be all, but it's not nothing. And they've got 260 average. There's 2 teams at 259, the Los Angeles Dodgers and the Philadelphia Phillies. So those are your top 3 teams in batting average right now in baseball. And you start to look at some of the other numbers and where they rank. Cardinals are 2nd in baseball when it comes to hits. Like, we could go through all the various numbers, but they've got some really good numbers from an offensive standpoint. I don't think they're going to lead Major League Baseball in hitting when all is said and done. I don't that number is going to fall off. Some other numbers are going to start to move forward, but that does tell a little bit more of the story of where things are at right now, which definitely is something to take note of. I think as we continue to evaluate this season, and while there's still a lot of people out there that are trying to decide whether to hop on. I know what I'm about to say is a really common thing for, I think, a healthy bit of the Cardinal fan base. You're stuck right now between being upset with the organization, not liking John Mozeliak, not liking Oliver Marmol, not liking the DeWitts, all these things, much of which I disagree with. Like, I'm not saying that's where I'm at. I'm saying, speaking for a group of fans who I hear from all the time, that's where you're at. You have all these negative feelings towards different pieces in the organization. I can sit here and argue with you why I think you're wrong about a lot of that stuff, but that doesn't matter for this conversation. For this conversation, all that matters is that that's where you're at. You have negative feelings about a lot of things going on with the organization. While on the other hand, it's been a fun team and an exciting team, and it's been a respectable team. They're 500. I'm not crowning them. Like, there's no guarantee that they're going to be anything special, but they are so you're stuck between the two areas on what this is going to look like moving forward and whether or not this is a team that's going to be worth, your time and watching what is going on here moving forward. I think we're going to get Rodrigo Blankenship. We're going to take a quick break, and then we'll get him on right after this break. We'll talk Battlehawks football coming up in just a moment or so. Don't go anywhere. It's a Graybar Sports Open Line on KMOX.
Will new tariffs impact small businesses? Rising costs and economic uncertainty can hurt your bottom line. But with Swish Funding, your business can stay strong. We offer fast, flexible funding solutions from $10,000 to $2 million for working capital, cash flow, and more, and as little as 24 hours with no collateral needed. If your business earns at least $50,000 per month and has been around for over a year, you could qualify today. Go to swishradio.com and use code RADIO. Swishradio.com, code RADIO.
You are a successful electrical contractor, but you plus a dedicated team supporting your project from day one? That's taking your productivity to the next level. And Graybar can help you get there. Your relationships plus our relationships. Your capabilities plus our job site services. Your challenges plus our technical specialists. You alone can get the job done, but you plus Graybar, that's smart business. Yep, Graybar does that.
It's Tom Ackerman for Ophthalmology Associates, the doctor's doctors, 314-966-5000 or online at youridoc.com.
You might know Graybar for cable and connectivity, but there's one more thing you should know us for that can help optimize your project's total value, like our comprehensive electronic solutions for security, AV, wireless, and networking, or our specialized job site services like material staging and kitting. Or maybe our logistics specialist who can help you identify efficiencies and ensure just-in-time delivery. So consider what one more thing you may need to optimize your bottom line and get to know us for that. Yep, Graybar does that.
At BOS, we help you bank boldly because sometimes life throws bold moments at you. Like noticing someone used your debit card to buy 100 party store gift cards? That's a lot of party supplies. Don't worry though, BOS has your back when there's suspicious activity on your account, and we work fast to address any fraudulent charges. Are you ready for a better banking experience? Then make the bold move and switch to BOS today. Visit bankwithbos.com. Member FDIC.
Spring into a new home with amazing savings at TR Hughes. Hi, I'm Jason Hughes with TR Hughes Homes, and we are currently offering half off up to $40,000 in options and up to $5,000 in closing costs on brand new to-be-built homes at select TR Hughes communities. That's right, half up to $40,000 in options and up to $5,000 in closing costs. Visit trhughes.com for details.
The choice of a home builder is an important decision and should not be based solely on advertising.
However, you really should visit trhughes.com.
Hey St. Louis, this is Ben Barnett, board-certified master arborist and owner at Timberline Professional Tree Care. As a local small business owner for the past 24 years, I always do my best to shop local and support our community. Recently, 2 of the largest tree contractors in the region have sold to out-of-town investment groups. This means that the new owners of these companies are not invested in quality, customer satisfaction, or safety, except for how it affects their bottom line. Timberline Professional Tree Care was founded in 2001 and is focused solely on giving you, the customer, the safest, highest quality product while providing the best customer service before, during, and after the job. I've poured my heart and soul into tree care for the past 24 years, and we aren't going anywhere. When it comes time to take care of your trees, I ask that you shop local and call me, Ben Barnett, at Timberline Professional Tree Care, 636-479-7475, or online at stltreecare.com.
This is Tom Ackerman. Like a Hall of Fame talent, an MVP, Chesterfield Fence and Deck has been going for 57 years strong now. A lot of happy customers. They've done a wonderful job for the St. Louis metro area when it comes to patios, sunrooms, pergolas, fences, decks, you name it. Chesterfield Fence and Deck is the sign you have the very best. Mention me, Tom Ackerman, and receive 48 months interest-free financing on your next outdoor project, chesterfieldfence.com.
Back at it here on KMOX. It is a Graybar Sports Open Line. Great to have you with us today. The Battlehawks, they're on a little bit of a run here, which is really, really good. And They pick up some weekly honors this past weekend as they're able to get Defensive Player of the Week, also Special Teams Player of the Week, and that is none other than Rodrigo Blankenship, who joins us on the program right now. Rodrigo, thanks for taking some time with us today. How are you?
I'm good. Thank you guys so much for having me.
Yeah, how much? I'm always careful when I talk about guys' numbers, so I won't say the specific thing to you that you've got going. But how good are you feeling right now with just your performance and what you've been able to do this year?
Yeah, it's been nice to be able to perform at the level that I have so far. But the season, still has plenty of life left to it. And so I just have to continue to go out and prepare at a high level so that I can go out and try and continue to perform at a high level for the rest of our games this season.
Take me through that, because I think people understand, if you're a player on offense or defense, or even a specialist that's on the kickoff unit or whatever, the things that you can do to prepare. For you personally, what does that look like as you're getting prepared for any given game?
Well, it starts with trying to have a good week of practice. I have my routine that I like to go through to try and make sure that I'm ready to go for all of our practices each week. And, that's kind of where it starts, is just being able to go out and have a good week of practice and just feel confident about how I'm striking the ball that week. And then after that, it's just kind of a matter of taking care of my body for the last couple of days, while we travel for wherever our game is going to be. And then the morning of, because most of our games are at night. So, that's kind of a way that, if you're smart, you can kind of separate yourself a little bit, is using the day of the game as a, last minute kind of body prep and recovery work. So, just trying to make sure that I do all of those things the right way will also just put me in a good place physically. And then going over my film from practice, going over my kicks to see the things that I did well, and, trying to kind of hone in on those things as I get ready to go out for the game. And as long as I do all of those things, then, that usually sets me up to be able to have a pretty strong performance when it comes time for game day.
That's interesting. So you, in terms of looking at film from practice, you go back and you look at basically every kick or almost every kick that you take in practice, and you use that to get better?
Yeah, absolutely. I go back and watch every kick. As long as we have the film available. We had a minor technical difficulty yesterday where one of our cameras was overheating, so I didn't get to see the last couple kicks from yesterday, but I'll still have another opportunity to get some more kicks on film tomorrow. That'll be our last practice of the week before we head to Memphis. So yeah, I want to make sure that I look at all of my kicks, make sure that I, look at the things that went right. If anything didn't go right, then I'll, look at that to see where things maybe didn't go how I wanted them to, and I can use that to make corrections to help me be as best as I can be for our game.
You were an incredible college kicker. You won the Lou Groza Award at Georgia. You put together a 4-year run that was nothing short of fantastic. How much better are you now compared to who you were when you left Georgia and when you became a pro?
I think the biggest thing has just been the leg strength. I think that I'm stronger now than I was at the time. Just having more reps, I think that I've just been able to be a little bit more refined and just a little bit more consistent. I've had pretty solid field goal numbers ever since I left college, whether it was with the Colts or the Cardinals. So what I've been able to do from a field goal perspective up until this point, I think has been a little bit better than what it was in college. And I just hope that I can continue to show that I am more consistent and more accurate than I was in college, as well as stronger. Obviously, it kind of took a little bit of I'm not going to say a setback, but just, a step in my journey of having hip surgery a couple of years ago, just because I had some recurring injuries that I couldn't really fully get rid of. And so I had a hip surgery in January of 2023. And I think that, ever since I've gotten back to being able to kick fully, I feel like that has helped me to be stronger than I ever was before.
Yeah, you mentioned your pro career with the Colts and with the Cardinals, and you got an opportunity to be with the Buccaneers a little bit before eventually getting this Battlehawks opportunity. Is that to going back to what you just talked about with coming off the hip surgery? Is this the opportunity with the Battlehawks for you to show NFL teams that you're still the same guy, if not better, than you were early on in your professional career?
Yes, absolutely. I appreciate the opportunity that the Battlehawks organization has given to me to, be a part of their team and to, use the UFL as an opportunity to show everybody else that, I'm still capable of performing at a high level. So I'm very grateful to be here, and, I just want to make the absolute most of it. But yeah, this is, absolutely an opportunity that has been on my radar. It was, on my radar throughout the course of the most recent NFL season, where, my thought process was kind of, if I don't get a call during the NFL season, then the UFL is the next opportunity that I would want to look forward to and to try and push myself and, try and advertise myself to get in there. So I'm very thankful to be here, and I just hope that I can continue to maximize the opportunity that's been given to me.
Is that a common thought right now for NFL guys? Because when the UFL was the XFL, and when spring football, there was another league out there. Like the leagues haven't been able to completely hold on, and now this is the thing that finally seems to have maybe a little bit of lasting power. And there's been a lot of guys who have gotten NFL opportunities by coming through the UFL. Is there kind of a league wide feeling for NFL guys that if you're not on a roster, going to the UFL is a really good opportunity to find your way back to the NFL?
I would hope that is the mindset. It's hard to say just because I haven't been in an NFL locker room in a little while. It's hard to say if that's the thinking or not. I also haven't talked to too many other, free agent specialists recently, but I do know that, the opportunity that I used to get in front of UFL personnel was a kicking combine in San Diego that was hosted by former NFL kicker John Carney. He is based in San Diego, and he trains kickers and punters out there of, all ages, high school, college, and some pros as well. And so he partnered with the UFL to host a combine back in December, and I went to that showcase to get in front of some UFL personnel. And there was probably about 30 to 35 other kickers there. A lot of them had previous NFL stints at one point or another in their careers. And, there was plenty of punters and snappers as well. So at least all the guys that went to that showcase, and there was another one hosted by Nick Novak, who used to kick in the NFL as well. So all of the guys that went to those showcases are, very aware of the UFL and the opportunities that it provides. And so hopefully more guys will see, even if it's, not just kicking and punting. I mean, there have been guys at all positions across the league that have given themselves opportunities to go back to the NFL because of how they performed in the spring leagues. So hopefully more free agents will recognize that and appreciate it and try and push themselves to get into this league and use it as an opportunity to get back to where they want to go.
Rodrigo Blankenship continuing to join us, Battlehawks kicker. You've got the nickname Hot Rod. That's a great nickname because your first name is Rodrigo. How long have you had that nickname? What was did somebody give it to you? What was the origin of it?
I think I've had it since my college days. And really, I think it was just the Georgia fans that started to call me that. Once I started to kick for the team during the 2016 season, it kind of caught on then, and it's been around ever since.
You've played in the NFL. You've played SEC football, so you've played in front of incredible fan bases. And spring football is always going to be a little bit off of that, but we know that Battlehawks fans, when it comes to the rest of the league, is the best. How different is it for you when you're kicking in a game at the Dome in St. Louis and you've got all the noise and all the craziness versus what it's like in some of these other environments that kind of are a little bit stale?
Yeah, I mean, kicking in the Battle Dome is awesome. It is absolutely the closest thing that you have to kicking in an NFL game. St. Louis fans are awesome. They show out in awesome numbers for us in every home game. And so I'm really thankful that I ended up coming to the Battlehawks specifically, because we have an awesome environment when we get to go up to St. Louis and play our games there. And it definitely is a drastic, a noticeable difference from when we have played in our couple of road games that we've had so far this season. But it's not something that I'm unaccustomed to, because my rookie year in the NFL was 2020, and that was the first COVID year.
Yeah.
And so a lot of teams either were not allowing fans at all, or were only allowing a very small percentage of their fans in their stadiums. So I remember my rookie year, I went to, we played at Chicago, we played at Las Vegas, we played at Pittsburgh, and there might have been a couple others, but those I remember specifically, they were not allowing fans at all. So we walked into that stadium, and then you could see maybe a handful of security guards posted up around the stadium, and that was it. So we at least have more fans than that. So, it's a different feeling, but also, because of my career journey up to this point, it's, not something that I haven't done before. I know that some guys, kind of feed off of the energy and the liveliness of the crowd. And, maybe they're able to derive some extra juice from the crowd. And so when you go to these road games and you don't have that available, then what are you going to do? Then you really have to dig deep and, pull that motivation for yourself without being able to feed off of the fans. But, thankfully I don't think I'm one of those guys. And, but the fact that I've played in front of no fans before, helps me to be able to stay locked in and not treat it any differently when we go to our road games this season.
Battlehawks are 4-2. They'll play at Memphis this Sunday. The next time they play at home is going to be on May 17th when they welcome in Birmingham. That's going to be a 12 noon kickoff. Tickets are available at the UFL.com, and just get to the Battlehawks page, but the UFL.com, and everything's pretty self-explanatory from there. Rodrigo Blankenship, he is the reigning Special Teams Player of the Week in the UFL. Hey, it's great to get to know you a little bit. Your story's awesome. I really enjoyed this conversation. Best of luck down the road, and maybe we'll be able to chat again down the line.
Absolutely. Thank you so much again for having me tonight.
You bet. Very good. That's Rodrigo Blankenship. That's a really interesting journey that he has been on, the hip surgery, trying to get back to the NFL. Guy's been pretty successful in the NFL and hasn't had much of a shot post that injury, and then working his way back and going to an event to get some scouts' eyes on him, and then being with the Battlehawks, and even his first year in the NFL being the COVID year, that playing 4 years at Georgia in the SEC. I mean, that's a guy who has accomplished and been able to experience a whole bunch of things, and really, really cool to be able to hear that story for sure. We wanted to mention this earlier when we were talking Cardinals, and we'll jump back into the Cardinals in a moment, but do want to remind you that tomorrow the Cardinals are going to open up a series against Washington. What's on deck? It is presented by Chesterfield Fence and Deck. The sign you have the very best, chesterfieldfence.com. 3-game series begins tomorrow, 5:45 first pitch tomorrow night. That means our coverage is going to begin at 4:50. We'll come back. We'll get some of these text messages and some of the video messages that have come into us, and we'll wrap up this edition of a Gray Bar Sports Open Line. That's up next here on KMOX.
Setting goals for retirement is one thing, but knowing how to achieve those goals is another.
What are your wishes, hopes, and dreams? What's retirement look like for you? Because everybody, that picture is different.
For tips on building a better nest egg, tune into the All Financial Hour with host Steve All, Saturday mornings at 10 or Sunday evenings at 6, right here on KMOX. You can also visit yourmoneymattersstl.com for more details.
Hey guys, it's Kevin Wheeler. Struggling with low energy, performance issues, or weight gain? Game Day Men's Health has you covered with testosterone therapy, ED treatments, and more, all in a relaxed environment that's like being in the man cave. At Game Day, you get a free testosterone test and consultation all in just an hour. Game Day is the premier men's health clinic with 3 area locations in Chesterfield, O'Fallon, Missouri, and Glen Carbon, Illinois. Visit GameDayMen'sHealth.com. That's GameDayMen'sHealth.com, and get back to the top of your game with Game Day Men's Health.
You know Gray Bar for electrical parts, but there's one more thing you may not be thinking of us for that can help maximize your next project's total value. Our pre-project planning services are designed to help you win the bid, save on labor costs, and keep your installers productive across your entire build. The sooner you call us, the better, because when we're there from the beginning, we can anticipate your needs and help you solve problems before they become problems. Yep, Gray Bar does that.
We all have someone we love, like the favorite lyric in our favorite song. You can't imagine life without them. So tell them today, I love you. Get screened. It could help save their life. Visit cancer.org/getscreened to learn more.
How do you feel when you switch to Geico and save on your car insurance? It's like trying to remember the name of that neighbor who's lived on your block for 10 years.
Oh, hey, you. How are you?
Is it Diane or Diana or possibly Dina? But then you just take a leap and somehow get it 1,000% correct on your very first try.
Daphne, it is so good to see you. Daphne, which is such a lovely name.
Snatching victory from the jaws of defeat. Yep, switching and saving with Geico feels just like that. Get more with Geico.
It's Tom Ackerman for Innsbruck. Just the beautiful homes at Innsbruck. The new Sonnenhaus houses are available this year. The newest style of living, combining the modern exterior of a treehouse with cozy interior elements of a cottage into one convenient and comfortable residence that can transition from a vacation home to a permanent residence. And it's so close to St. Louis, just a half hour from Chesterfield, an hour from downtown. Innsbruck-resort.com.
MLB.tv is home to baseball's biggest stars. Watch every out-of-market game, live or on demand.
He got it! This is unbelievable!
Plus, you'll get 24/7 access to MLB Network. Stream every big pitch.
He struck him out!
Every home run.
Gone!
Everything baseball. All season long on MLB.tv. Start a free trial today. Blackout and other restrictions apply. Major League Baseball trademarks used with permission.
Hey, this is Charlie Brennan. Have you noticed loose bricks or missing mortar around your house? On the walls, the patios, the walkways, the porch, or the chimneys? If so, you need to call Morelli Tuck Pointing. 314-645-1387. You might need one of two things: solid tuck pointing, the removal of old mortar with the replacement of new mortar throughout an entire wall or chimney, or maybe just spot tuck pointing. Spot tuck pointing involves the tuck pointing of a particular wall, a chimney, or other masonry surface in an area where it's needed the most. One example might be settlement cracks, usually found above or below windows or doorways. 314-645-1387. Call the company that the Brennans have called when we've needed tuck pointing. Morelli Tuck Pointing, the masonry specialists. Winner of the Angie's List Super Service Award every year since 2005. 314-645-1387, MorelliTuckPointing.com.
Hey guys, Glover here for my friends Mark and Neil Gelman from the Gelman team of eXp Realty. If you want immediate cash for your home or to see what your home is actually worth in today's market, find out for free from the local experts. 314-336-1991. Go to thegelmanteam.com.
Welcome back to the Gray Bar Sports Open Line. Once again, Matt Pauley on KMOX.
Starting to wrap up this edition of a Gray Bar Sports Open Line right here on KMOX. It is a Strike Zone hour. Building the Future is sponsored by Gray Bar, your distributor for electrical and datacom needs based in St. Louis. Gray Bar is a great place to work. So the future, specifically tomorrow, is the future, building the roster for tomorrow. It would appear that Ivan Herrera is going to be back on the team, as yesterday it came out on the MLB transactions wire that Luken Baker was being returned to AAA Memphis, and we would assume at that point that Ivan Herrera indeed is going to be back with the team. And now we're going to see what it looks like moving forward. The fact that Herrera dealt with a little bit of residual soreness after catching at Memphis, and the fact that Joel Pozo has done such a good job for the Cardinals, I think it makes a lot of sense. So you can make sure to keep Herrera in the lineup, if not every day, just about every day. You can catch him a little bit, and then you can DH him a little bit all at the same time. And then if you need to get him out of a game, you've got another catcher available. That's the other side of it. So you've got protection for Ivan Herrera by going with the three catchers. So I like this roster arrangement. And like I mentioned earlier when we were talking about this during the Redbird Rush Hour, I also think this sets you up to kind of have your roster the way you want to have it look maybe in the future, because at some point Jimmy Crooks is going to be ready. And when Jimmy Crooks is ready, you're probably going to want to, if that happens in the next year, you don't want to move on from Pedro Pajes. He is the perfect guy in his role. A good defensive catcher who's never going to embarrass himself at the plate. You don't want to move on from Ivan Herrera. That's a legit middle of the order run producing bat. Jimmy Crooks right now would appear to be the frontline catcher of the future for this team. So you want to find a way to have all those guys on the roster. So figure that out now. And that's part of what I don't think that really goes into the equation of what they're doing right now. Right now, it's quite simply, they're getting more production out of Joel Pozo than they are Luke and Baker. So you get Baker back to AAA and allow him to get some timing. The real third man commented on our video stream, asking about doing some piggybacking where you would pair Gray and McGreevy and Graceffo and Michaelis and things like that. First up, piggybacking really doesn't happen that much in Major League Baseball. I would not be totally against it happening once per time in the rotation where you kind of have it built for a starter's going to go 5 and then a reliever is going to come in and go 4. Two things, though, against that. A, you're playing with fire because if it goes poorly and you have to go to the bullpen, you've almost set aside this day that's supposed to be an off day for the bullpen, and then all of a sudden you go to it. That's a little bit of a dangerous situation. And then the other side of it is you've got the bullpen there for a reason, and you've got Ryan Helsley there for a reason. If it's a 1-run game, a 2-run game late, you want to use those guys. So generally speaking, I am against that sort of thing happening in Major League Baseball. I don't think it's a great thing to be able to do. All right, that is going to do it for the program tonight. Thanks so much for being tuned in. We'll be back with you for Cardinals baseball coming up tomorrow right here on KMOX.
Rhino Shield is far superior to even the best traditional exterior house